Back in May, Shania Twain previewed her long-awaited new album for media in Nashville, nervously addressing the group as if she wasn't sure how the music would be received. Twain openly presented the record as an honest reflection of her life right now, acknowledging that it might not be what everyone was expecting. "It was really just all about me speaking everything that was in my heart and mind," she said at the time. The album, titled Now, arrives on September 29, 15 years after her previous full-length Up! And in the wake of some personal upheavals that assailed her in the interim. Most notably, her divorce from husband and longtime collaborator Mutt Lange, with whom she has a 15-year-old son, Aya. Lange had an affair with and eventually married Twain's former best friend, Marie-Anne Thiebaud. In a twist worthy of a Danielle Steele novel, the heartbroken superstar and Marie-Anne's ex-husband Frederick leaned on one another, fell in love and got married as well. But the ensuing stress from the situation led to Twain being diagnosed with dysphonia, a condition that affects vocal cord control, which she later learned was also due to complications from Lyme disease. With therapy, Twain was able to return to performing, first through her 2-year Caesars Palace residency Still the One, and later with the Rock This Country tour, and recording some of the songs she had written. She learned to adapt to her new limitations. "My voice will never be the same again, I doubt very much," she tells Rolling Stone Country, in Nashville again several weeks later. "I've already gone through a lot of work, and as you get older it actually gets harder." One of the things that helped make Twain become the biggest country star of the second half of the 90s, that is, beyond the fact that her songs were ridiculously clever, forward-thinking and had hooks for days, was the way she projected a survivor's strength, both through her hit recordings and the circumstances over which she triumphed to achieve greatness. From her hardscrabble childhood in Ontario, Canada, to the tragic deaths of her mother and stepfather in a car accident and having to sing to support her sisters, Twain has been beset with abandonment and struggle from the very beginning. She is the epitome of rising above one's circumstances, but her vocal cord problems and her long absence from the public eye were entirely new obstacles to overcome. "Swingin' with My Eyes Closed," the opening track on Now, addresses some of that trepidation in classic Shania fashion. Beginning with a foot-stomping intro that slyly recalls Any Man of Mine, it quickly settles into an easygoing reggae groove. She sings of facing uncertainty and having to ball up one's fists to throw punches even when one isn't necessarily ready. Twain wrote every song on Now by herself, a first in her career, along with arranging the vocals and harmonies. She brought on a murderer's row of producers, none of them Nashville usual suspects, in Ron Aniello, Jacquire King, Jake Gosling, and Matthew Coma, whose credits include Bruce Springsteen, Ed Sheeran, Kings of Leon and Zedd. As Twain hinted, the album doesn't sound like her blockbuster recordings from the Lange era. She stretches out stylistically, flitting between down-tempo pop in the vein of Dido, Light of My Life, arena-ready Mumford & Sons style folk rock, Home Now, vulnerable country balladry, Who's Gonna Be Your Girl, and even sprightly, tropically flavored dance music, Let's Kiss and Make Up, singing about finding her way through adversity or getting over heartbreak. She makes multiple references to betrayal. "It killed me that you'd give your life to be with her," she sings in the bouncy lead single Life's About to Get Good, that could easily be read as a reference to her divorce, but Twain is adamant that Now, as she says, is not a divorce album. Instead, it's the sound of a global entertainer finding her footing on mostly unfamiliar ground, recalibrating her style for an audience that's even more fragmented than when she flipped country and pop on their heads in the late 90s. More than that, it's the sound of a woman who refuses to be held down. At the album preview in May, you touched on the working relationship you had with Mutt, crediting him with your artistic development. But you said you felt stripped of your own identity when people gave him the credit for what you'd accomplished together. Why do you think that was? Because Mutt was the producer. I was more the sounding board for him and he wanted it to be very true to me stylistically as well. He was an excellent collaborator and I think he really brought out the best in me in so many ways. But not being independent, Meaning we were collaborating, we were relying on each other for our strengths, it's just I wasn't spreading my wings the way I would have if I was doing it by myself. The identity thing, it wasn't really an identity crisis, but it